Yo, what's up? What's up? It's your boy DMO Muto back with another video. Yes, sir. Today, you know what I'm saying, UnrealEntGaming. I've been watching this dude for a while, so, and he dropped the Dragon Ball Super mangas, and I be watching all the time. So I was like, you know what? Let me watch it with y'all this time, you know what I'm saying? So let's get into it, you know what I'm saying? UnrealEntGaming, Ultra Ego and Ultra Instinct versus Gas. Elect's Secret Plan. Alright, let's check that out. I'm kind of excited to watch this one. The greatest battle in universe between Stand Pride United and Ultra Ego and Ultra Instinct. Yes, sir. Let's go.
As we kick off Dragon Ball Super manga chapter number 84 back inside of Monaito's house, with Bardock Scouter having to end its recording, with both Goku, Vegeta, and Monaito left baffled by the recording that was left behind by Bardock Scouter, with Goku now having to put everything that he had just overheard now into question. That's when Monaito went on to comment, as it was during Monaito's comments where Goku had come into his own by remembering what had happened when he was a baby, and now having to take us all the way back to when Bardock actually had returned back home to Guinea. We from there see how an infant Goku was able to open his eyes in seeing his father battle damaged right before his mother. Goku was from this point on slowly but surely beginning to remember both of his parents, as a very battle damaged and bloody Bardock had walked on over to the incubation pod and putting his hand over the glass and smiling. Goku in fact does appear as though he has very vague memories of these moments before having to fall asleep, as before having to do so, we also then see how Bardock had left his house after having to recover in basically partaking in one of his final missions before Planet Vegeta's destruction, with additional flashbacks being shown of Guinea having to partake in housework, and even going as far as to show Goku's final moments with his parents on Planet Vegeta before having to be sent off to Earth. It would only now appear as though Goku does seem to vaguely remember all of these events as they had occurred, as similar to the moments seen during the events of Dragon Ball Super Broly with Bardock and Guinea having to send Goku to Earth. Goku is now beginning to remember each and every single one of these circumstantial events, as back within the present, as Goku remembers how he was sent off Planet Vegeta. That's when Goku went on to comment, "Vegeta, I feel like I finally understand what Saiyan Pride is about, or rather, I remember what it's about along with my dad's face. The thing is, I haven't had total faith in my power," he says. "I've lost sight of it as well," Vegeta responds. "My burden is not the sins of all Saiyans, but our people's pride," he says. "Why did it have to be your father of all people who helped me realize this?" Vegeta asks. "And to think that you and Raditz survived when you were young because of a wish on the Dragon Balls. That's not fair," Vegeta shouts. "Wishing for you to thrive and all," Vegeta asks. "Who ever heard of such pampered Saiyans?" "Well, how about the way you pamper and spoil bra, huh? One has nothing to do with the other," Vegeta shouts. Bardock Monaito comments, "What a funny way for your will to be passed down," he says. "A people's pride is about atoning for sins of the past," he says. "And it ain't about taking revenge, it's about accepting your nature and sticking to your convictions. And that's true of any tribe out there," Monaito adds. "Over here, you two. Let me patch you up a bit before Gas gets back." "Thank you," Vegeta says. "Yeah, thanks again," Goku comments. "But first, your clothes," Monaito says, as he then went on to spawn Saiyan armor on both Vegeta and Goku. This was the last thing that either of them were ever expecting to wear, as Goku went on to ask, "Could I just have my original outfit back?" "I can't get used to this jacket," Vegeta responds. "What? You don't want to dress how Bardock once did?" Monaito asks. But even then, all the while as this was going on, deep within outer space, we then venture on back in seeing Gas speed blitz his way back onto planet Sorel, as you can see the anger on Gas's face in the fact that he was played by Goku in being left behind this entire time. It was only as Gas was making his way back onto the planet where he then had discovered Goku and Vegeta's chi signature, and from that very moment on having to announce that he had finally locked onto them, as he was not looking to waste any more time by flying through space to get to planet Sorel. So what Gas ends up doing instead is, within the blink of an eye, Gas ends up using instant transmission and smashing his way down onto the planet, which, mind you, ironically enough had occurred right in front of Monaito's house, and the moment Goku and Vegeta had gone to sense this, they both knew exactly what they were about to be in for, because it was basically going to be a do or die moment, with Gas being shown slowly having to stand up and staring directly into Monaito's house, because Gas knew that all of the parties that he was looking to destroy, including both Monaito and Granola, were inside of this house. As he was basically now ready for war, it was only then where Gas went on to comment, "Get out here, Saiyans," and with Oil having to spot Gas, that's when he went on to radio back to Maki by telling her, "Yo Maki, Gas is back, he's at the hut." "Oh, sooner than we thought," Maki says. "What now, Alec?" Maki asks. "Let's move the ship over that way," Alec says, "but only within view of the battle and not too close." And with Oil shown having to rush towards Gas, that's when Oil went on to shout, "Hey there, brother, how you feeling?" "I'm feeling like I just wasted too much time," Gas responds. "Tell Alec that I'll be finished here shortly." "Okay," Oil says, "good luck. We'll have a tasty meal waiting for you," he says. As it was only then where we get to see how both Goku and Vegeta were slowly emerging from the shadows within, with both shown having to slowly make their way and walking outside of Monaito's house and now having to confront Gas for themselves. You can almost kind of feel the tension emanating from the page, as Gas went on to smile by responding, "I assumed you would have run off by now. It's you and your gang who are gonna leave," Goku says. "Leave? We plan to as soon as we've slaughtered you two," Gas says. "I want to defeat this one," Vegeta says, "even if it kills me. How about you?" he asks. "Well, I'm not letting you have all of the fun, Vegeta. Fine. We'll fight together then," he says. In which, as both of their auras are now beginning to emanate, Gas went on to ask, "Huh? I'll be the one to end this," Goku says. "Not on my watch," Vegeta responds. As it was only then, right then and there, within that moment, both Goku and Vegeta were shown having to unleash their most powerful godly transformations in what is without question one of the absolutely best pages that we've seen thus far within the Granola arc, in witnessing these two transform in their own unique way, because as we see the way Vegeta is transforming and looking very ferocious in his approach, Goku on the other hand appears to be very calm in the way he's transforming, but at the same time, he appears to look very serious and very in tune to what's about to happen going forward against Gas, as even Gas himself cannot seem to believe this. And I love the way Ultra Instinct and Ultra Ego's auras are merging together in this, because in a similar like fashion, the way Goku had unleashed Ultra Instinct against Moro 7-3 during the events of the Galactic Patrol Prisoner arc, both of their auras are not only shown having to envelop the entire landscape, but at the same time, the sheer intensity and magnitude of their auras having to combine is even being shown having to be thrust up into the sky, as even with the heaters themselves having to observe from their ship, even they themselves cannot seem to believe this. And one can only imagine as to what this moment would look like once it's animated within the Dragon Ball Super anime, because the very moment Vegeta and Goku had now come into their own in unleashing both Mastered Ultra Instinct and Ultra Ego onto the surface, the heaters cannot believe this, as Maki went on to shout, "Well, what sort of forms are they using now? That Goku guy is using Super Duper Instinct, and Vegeta's got his massive ego boost thing, I think. Like, I give a crap about the names," Maki says. "I'm asking if they're strong or not." "Oh, yeah," Oil says, "for sure, real strong." And with Alec eerily quiet, that's when Gas went on to ask, "You intend to face me together? Saiyans are as mindless as ever, I see. You still fail to comprehend that such a strategy will not matter given the gulf between us?" "No," Goku says, "you're the one who doesn't get it." "Oh? Yeah, it's got nothing to do with our odds of victory," Vegeta says. "What drives us now is the sheer desire to win." As this was it, with both Goku and Vegeta now going on to make their first move and being the ones to dash at Gas directly, Gas quickly got into fighting position in anticipating both of their attacks as Vegeta and Goku came rushing on in, as the very moments both Mastered Ultra Instinct Goku and Ultra Ego Vegeta had gone in making contact by striking Gas, not only was it interesting to see Gas actually be able to hold his position in standing his ground, but he also within that moment had gone in demonstrating to be exactly what he had claimed to be, which is that of being the strongest mortal within Universe 7, in showing no signs of pain, no signs of struggle, nor even signs of anger. He actually went as far as to stand his ground by blocking off both of their attacks with simply one arm, without even having to show any expression on his face, and going as far as to tell us, the reader, that yeah, Houston, we have a major problem here, because despite how strong Goku and Vegeta may potentially be right now, the fact still stands that as they went on to attack Gas simply had just stood there, as neither Goku or Vegeta during that moment were even able to make him budge, as the very moment how we then see how both Ultra Ego Vegeta and Mastered Ultra Instinct Goku had gone and breaking away, the first individual between the two having to be shown taking any sort of action was in fact Mastered Ultra Instinct Goku, in which as Mastered Ultra Instinct Goku had gone in attempting to kick Gas, interestingly enough to I believe the shock of everyone, Gas was actually cognitively aware of everything that was about to transpire, because before Goku could successfully land any sort of strike on Gas was actually fast enough in having to duck in avoiding Goku's strike, which from a power scaling speed perspective is a very impressive feat to see Gas perform with, because we are talking about a much stronger Goku than we've ever seen before, and with Goku being shown having to attack him, Gas was actually fast enough in being able to avoid even the strongest form that Goku is currently wielding, with both Goku and Vegeta being shown having to circle around Gas and attacking him simultaneously. The moment Vegeta had gone in attempting to do the exact same thing, Gas had ended up repeating this by leaning on back and avoiding Ultra Ego Vegeta's punch, which again from a speed feats perspective is a very impressive thing to see Gas actually utilize here, because not only is Gas now dealing with one mega level warrior, but in fact he's dealing with two at the exact same time, in which the moment Goku was shown having to dash back in and assisting Vegeta, with Vegeta having to step on back, Goku had again attempted in creating somewhat of an offensive tactic in trying to get the better of Gas while Vegeta had leapt up in the air, because as Gas was in the moment and having to fight off Mastered Ultra Instinct Goku from above, Vegeta was making his way towards Gas in his attempts of having to double axe handle him, but even while being shown having to be cunningly evasive against MUI Goku, Gas was actually once again fast enough in having to dodge and getting out of the way, which had resulted in Vegeta having to smash his way down onto the ground, with Goku also being shown having to avoid this, with Vegeta being shown visibly angry, and with Goku noticing that Gas is now up in the air. Once again, Goku had then taken immediate flight in chasing Gas down, and from there being shown having to swap hands with Gas and doing the best that he could to get the better of him, as with Vegeta now also having to notice this and looking back up, Vegeta did not also waste any more time by them being shown having to dash right back into the action, in which as Vegeta had gone and kicking Gas, with Gas doing the best that he could to deflect it, you can kind of see Goku already being aware of this and stepping on over to the side and attacking Gas from a different direction, which from a synchronization standpoint, when looking at how they were attacking Gas together now, it's fair to say that during this moment Goku and Vegeta were actually able to drive Gas back a bit, because now you can see the frustration having to emanate from Gas's face in realizing that when these guys are in sync and attacking you at the exact same time, this could, hence the word could, be a problem going forward. But even though momentarily to some extent they were able to drive Gas back a bit, the moment Gas saw that Ultra Ego Vegeta was then being shown having to go for a punch, Gas was actually able to see this for himself in latching onto Vegeta's punch and then being shown having to use Vegeta's own fist in driving it back and causing Vegeta to basically hit himself, in which sent Vegeta flying down onto the ground, which ultimately what had followed was Gas quickly turning around and doing the exact same thing to Goku and kicking him down onto the ground as well. But even then, despite this having to go down, Goku and Vegeta had managed to somehow land back on their feet, and once again being shown having to be in hot pursuit in chasing Gas down to fight him off 2-on-1, because the very moment both Vegeta and Goku had gone and uniting their attacks and kicking Gas at the exact same time, you can see Gas be taken back, as of course once again he is showing signs of anger, he is showing signs of frustration, as once more the Saiyans are not letting up, because again they're in hot pursuit, they end up chasing Gas down, and they end up fighting off Gas to the point where they're traveling through the air and fighting at the exact same time. But even then, Gas ends up backflipping away and having to avoid their strikes and landing back down onto the ground, in which as he did, he was waiting for a moment just to kind of set up this trap in which Goku and Vegeta nearly fell for, because as Gas had gone and sticking his arms out, he then proceeded to unleash a gigantic blast which had nearly enveloped them whole if it were not for them having to quickly leap out of the way, as they themselves now have positioned themselves above Gas and charging up for both the Kamehameha and the Gallic Gun. As with Gas now realizing this, it was already too late, because with both Goku and Vegeta having to fire this down on him, one would only expect that these blasts would inevitably connect, but in fact they didn't, because Gas was actually fast enough in using instant transmission and getting behind both Goku and Vegeta by them being shown having to spawn a mace, which ironically enough, the first person that he ends up clocking with the mace is in fact Vegeta, with Vegeta's body being shown having to hit the ground below, and with Goku visibly angry, Gas had attempted to do the exact same thing with Goku in trying to do his best to strike him with the mace, but it only appears as though Goku is simply too fast for Gas to handle, and this pisses off Gas a lot actually, because Gas actually ends up throwing his mace away by then having to shout, "Why you?" So instead, he ends up flying and driving his leg forward and kicking Goku in the stomach, which ultimately had resulted in Gas taking the lead by dragging Goku's body down on the ground and having to hit the pavement below, and essentially kind of curb stomping Goku down into the ground, which mind you, Goku at that point was showing signs of pain. It was only as Gas went on to stand above him, that's when Gas went on to tell Goku, "Don't get cocky, you pathetic monkeys," but then that's when Vegeta from behind Gas went on to shout, "Move aside, Kakarot." This is a god of destruction move, Vegeta says, one capable of erasing mere mortals. If you truly are the universe's strongest, then try standing up to this. As the moment Vegeta had gone and launching this attack directly at Gas, what Goku ends up doing as an end result to counter this was Goku had quickly used instant transmission in having to avoid this, with Gas then being shown having to spawn a shield, in which as Vegeta's giant attack was then making its way towards Gas, that's when Gas went on to tell him, "Observe as I deflect your worthless move," which essentially is what Gas tries to do by using the shield as a means to defend himself with, because after realizing that in fact if he were to touch this he could be erased, Gas wasn't going to chance this, so he is actually sufficient and strong enough to be shown holding this attack in place, as with Vegeta doing everything he possibly could in trying to get this attack to be driven into Gas, Goku ends up teleporting behind Vegeta and assisting him by having to push the blast forward together, which results in Gas being driven back as his shield is slowly being shown having to disintegrate. But in a similar like fashion to Jiren during the events of Dragon Ball Super's Tournament of Power, Gas is showing massive signs of resiliency in refusing to back down and giving up by allowing this attack to overcome him. As with all of the heaters having to watch this, Maki went on to shout, "Is he gonna be okay? Gas is losing ground to them. They already used those transformations, right, Oil?" Yep, I saw both of these forms when they were duking it out with Granola." "Then he's fine," Alex says. "The wish to make him the strongest came after that." "Right, makes sense," Maki says. "He can still win this." "Relax. I assume they might team up against him," Alex says. "As the strongest in the universe, Gas outclasses Granola." "Oh, yeah," Maki says. "Just watch." And with Goku and Vegeta shown desperately trying to do everything they can to drive this attack into Gas, we only then begin to see exactly what Alec was talking about, because without even having to touch the blast, Gas was shown having to use force in driving this attack back at Goku and Vegeta, to where now both Goku and Vegeta realize that this is a bad situation, as Goku went on to shout, "We're getting pushed back." "Damn it," Vegeta shouts, "it's no use." But then out of nowhere, that's when Vegeta had decided to just simply let go and flat leave Goku behind, as Goku went on to shout, "Vegeta, oh, come on!" which inevitably leaves Goku to deal with Ultra Ego Vegeta's attack all by himself, which from that moment on we get to see how Goku was literally holding on to this massive Hakai ball with his own hands in trying to do the best that he could in not allowing for this to overcome him, as all the while with Vegeta making his way towards Gas, Vegeta was ready for war, but so was Gas, because as Gas ends up kicking Vegeta in the stomach, you can see the pain emanating from his face, as Gas had gone and grabbing Vegeta by the hair and continuously being shown punching him in the stomach. As Gas was looking to keep his word and slaughtering the both of them, Gas had then gone and punching Vegeta out into the distance, in which as Vegeta's body was shown hitting a pile of rocks with Gas slowly having to be shown walking towards him, that's when Gas went on to tell Vegeta, "What's wrong, Saiyan? Losing too much blood? Do you still think you can win?" "Why wouldn't I?" Vegeta asks, as with Gas standing over Vegeta now with his arm out, that's when he went on to respond, "Save your prattle for the afterlife," he says. As back with Goku also being shown losing ground and now realizing the Shigerian city behind him, Goku did not want to take any chances in having this Hakai ball erase the entire city, so as a means of trying to do his best in deflecting this, Goku ends up actually launching this attack directly up in the air, which had subsequently saved both himself and the entire Shigerian city, until Goku had then quickly realized that Vegeta was on his own and maybe perhaps Vegeta was in trouble, because the moment Goku had used instant transmission in coming back into the fight and having to call for Vegeta's name, to Goku's shock, Vegeta was then shown having to punch Gas extremely hard in the face, with Goku asking, "Oh?" And Gas right now seems to be taking note of this, as Gas went on to ask, "You worm, what trick is this? How is your body still moving?" with Vegeta being shown wiping the blood from his face and responding, damage is nothing but fuel for me. Do you realize what that means? I'm only getting stronger. As with Gas now shown visibly angry at what Vegeta had just said, it was only right then and there during that moment where Dragon Ball Super manga chapter number 84 then comes to a close. Now, this was without question probably one of my favorite chapters, if not my absolute favorite chapter within the Granola arc thus far, because not only were we now able to finally see the utilization and synchronization of both Mastered Ultra Instinct Goku and Ultra Ego Vegeta in battle, but to also now witness inarguably two of the strongest warriors within Universe 7 actually battle and go head to head against the so-called strongest in seeing how they compare, there was no doubt about the fact that I loved the overall brilliance behind this fight and was something that I was really hoping for but really wasn't sure if they were going to run with, because thus far with the way Vegeta was portrayed being placed up against Gas was kind of poor. So initially I wasn't really sure if we were going to see Ultra Ego Vegeta make a comeback towards the end of this arc, and to see the way both Goku and Vegeta were fighting Gas and using their own methods of approach to kind of get the better of him was really good. But what I want to know from you guys down in the comment section below are three things, that being number one, on a rating scale of 1 to 5, with 1 being absolute trash.
I ain't gonna lie, that was a 5. That was a 5. That was a good chapter. I was really into that one. Shoot. Man. I don't know what they're gonna do with the damn next chapter, boy. When they bringing the anime back, man? Because unlike the last anime, they had to rush, so the animation was off and stuff like that. But that manga going crazy right now. This manga going crazy. I want to see Moro. I want to see Ultra Ego animated, bro. That shit gonna be clean as fuck, bro. But anyway, man, let me know how y'all think about it at the bottom. You know what I'm saying? How you feel about the Dragon Ball Super manga right now. Let me know if there anything else y'all want me to react to. You know what I'm saying? And I'm gonna catch y'all later. You know.